The US military has warned the Iraqi government about the possible re-emergence of an upgraded version of Islamic State following the terror group's defeat in Mosul. RT's Caleb Morpin has the details.
Making sure that ISIL doesn't set up shop again might be just as hard as getting rid of it in the first place. And while everyone is celebrating the liberation of Mosul, a top U.S. commander in Iraq says to beware of ISIS 2.0.
If we're to keep ISIS 2.0 from emerging, the Iraqi government is going to have to do something pretty significantly different.
So what exactly should the Iraqi government do differently? Any advice?
I think the primary condition that caused the rise of ISIS was the fact that a significant portion of the Iraqi population, in this case the Sunnis, felt disaffected. The Iraqis have to make sure, after ISIS is defeated, that all Iraqis view the government in Baghdad as their government.
So sectarian violence is the main destabilizing factor. Now, didn't everything start to go wrong a few years back after a certain little military intervention? You know, Iraq invasion 1.0?
The consequence was that as we were trying to rehabilitate the country, those elements were trying to wreck our efforts by sectarian violence, and that is what we did not foresee.
So after reducing a formerly stable country to over a decade and a half of chaos, the USA now warns Baghdad that it better start building bridges and enforcing reconciliation. The USA, for its part, intends to stay.
The Iraqi government has expressed an interest in having the U.S. forces and coalition forces remain after the defeat of ISIS. Our government is equally interested in that, as are several coalition governments have expressed an interest in joining in that effort.
So will all of this help with sectarian violence? The violence in Iraq and Syria has only made the long-standing feud between the Sunni and the Shia worse. On top of that, you have the Kurds and their upcoming independence referendum. A lot of this sounds like shutting the barn door after the horse has already bolted.
It's almost like a case of national amnesia. We forgot what happened in 2003 when President Bush said, mission accomplished, we've done everything we need to do, great victory. The reality is that just created the problems that we're still fighting today. So the idea that we're going to do the same thing, which is to defeat the so-called enemy there and then remain indefinitely and somehow the result will be different, I think is an absolute fantasy. So it won't necessarily turn Iraq into Switzerland if we leave, but it's inevitable that somehow the Iraqis will have to solve their own problems in one way or the other.
So stay or go? It looks like either way, the United States will have to make the best of a bad choice. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.